He owned slaves from 1800, during which time abolitionists ridiculed his words, claiming that America was more like the land of the free and home of the oppressed. A distinct, district attorney, he suppressed abolitionists, and he lost a case against Reuben Crandall in 1836, where he accused the defendant's abolitionist publications of instigating slaves to rebel. He was also a leader of the American Colonization Society, which sent former slaves to Africa. He freed some of his slaves in 1830s, paying one of his farm foremen to supervise his other slaves. He publicly criticized slavery and gave free legal representation to some slaves seeking freedom, but he also represented owners of runaway slaves. He had 8 slaves at the time of his death. The same man, Star Spangled Banner. You know what I mean?
He part of that American Colonization Society,
Facts.
along with
He's
Andrew
the
Jackson. And when you look at
yes.
you say Andrew Jackson's name, that's
Mm-hmm.
the Cherokee, the Choctaw, the Lower Creek, and the Seneca, and then on the Tecumseh side. But that key point is they're trying to get a lot of people out of that land through war, through legislation, through certain bills and acts of Congress, through the Homestead Act, through that, not Homestead Act, through the whole Colonization Act of the American Colonization Society going over there. And they've been doing that by 1820, they've been doing that move for 30 years, since 1790. So that's always been a way to get the Negro population out of the South, is to send them to West Africa through the colonization. But I like the way they put them two together, Andrew Jackson and Madison. Madison was one of the generals in that. All those little things that they were doing to so-called help the Negro, one that was the free people of color, or the American Colonization Society, they say a lot of people came from the Haitian War. A lot, 50% of that population came out of that situation. But I could see where they were playing games on both sides.
But this guy with the Spangled Banner was one of the ones that started.
Mm-hmm.
They came to him and it was like, yeah, he was down with and we're gonna put Abraham Lincoln in it, because he was like, we're gonna send him to Canada, to Mexico, anywhere but North America. And he was down with it. And don't get confused with the complexion, because it wasn't about a complexion, it was about a connection. And people start moving. Then you start getting into a circle within a circle, or advisors to the king and queen. I'm going to leave it right there, 100.
That part. It's that Boston, man. You want to say something, brother?
I'm listening, and what I get out of this stuff is I don't know if it's going to sound like crazy, but like when we read this stuff, it's almost like hypnosis. And you know what I'm saying? This is some type of curse we got to break. You know what I'm saying? So, does it pertain to us today? You know what I'm saying? Does it pertain to us today?
Well, in the only case it does is because I think people don't. This is on America's Soul. And
yes,
people have a misunderstanding of what happened in America's history. We have to. So even what happened to the events this is in the 1800s. This ain't. You know what I mean? All of our people were here, right? We would say, based off of being indigenous or even having a mixture, you would say that all of our people would be here at that time. When I read the other source where it said 3 different groups, right? So we already know in the 1800s is 3 different groups of people on the American soul. You know what I mean? That fought in that American Revolution. You know what I mean? Or here during the American Revolution, I would say even. You know what I mean? Or whatever position they were in. Free, enslaved, indigenous, tribed up. You know what I mean? Whatever case might happen. Marooned, refuged. You know what I'm saying? So that's what people genealogy are actually, you know what I mean? Finding when they look in the records and this is the 1800s. You feel me?
So in today's time, all of us as copper colored melanated people. You know what I'm saying? They throw us all up under the banner as, you know, so-called black, but we all might have, you know, say different variations of, you know, our history and stuff like that. But do we all together come as one to move forward, or do we get our own family together, our own so-called people together, and then we link up? You know what I'm saying? Like, where are we going from right here, right now?
Well, since you say it like that, I mean,
Yeah.
King Moves is something you want to say about that? You want to reply to what he just said?
I like what he said. I think that this is even bigger than what we're talking about, because, like old boy said, Lincoln wanted to send. He also wanted to send people to Haiti. Haiti was welcoming Black Americans right after they won their Revolutionary War, and not a lot of people went. Just like a lot of people didn't go to Liberia. They sent a few thousand to Liberia, but they got mad at the idea, like when Sierra Leone, because really those are the same people. When you was talking about getting shipped after the wars, when they lost, you talk about all the people who went to Jamaica and Cuba and Puerto Rico and all them Caribbean islands they sent out there and sent back up north and sent them back up to New English states. So yeah, it's important because, bro, there's a lot more twist in the family than we think about. You know, we thinking about us sitting here right now, but they shipped our people around. And then what that also made me think about when we talk about them doing the Sierra Leone and Liberia is, you know, I actually heard older Africans say before there wasn't a lot of people on the west coast of Africa in general. So how many other countries going down the whole Atlantic coast, down the whole two continents, sent people to West Africa besides the United States? You know what I mean? How many of those African countries today, like Nigeria and all those other countries, might possibly be originally from America? See, one thing that stands out for us that I recognize us is our red undertones. Like, you know, I'm real light skinned, but I still have a real red undertone. Mac, you a lot darker. You still got a red undertone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you start looking at the Africans, they don't have that same red undertone, except for those few groups that we talk about on the west coast of Africa. That makes me feel more like, yo, did the same thing that happened in Sierra Leone and Liberia from the United States happen in other countries going down the Atlantic coast in the Americas, sending them over there to Africa? Because we know that they did it in Brazil back in the 1500s. They took some what was their name? Damn. But the Indians in Brazil, it was taking them to Africa to help them build their forts and stuff. And they was dipping out. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it is important that we know that. You know, there's a lot of more connections than just the little ones. You know what I mean? It's like they ship our folks back and forth, and they telling the story to us like, yeah, they brought us over here. Like, you know, like the Gullah think they came from Sierra Leone, when in reality, the people in Sierra Leone is related to them because they ran from here and got sent there by Britain. You know what I'm saying?
That part.
So okay, I'll just throw that in there.
Liberia, Britain, Sierra Leone,
us. Sierra Leone was Britain.
Right.